All right, we're ready to go whenever you are.
All right, good evening and welcome to the, what I believe will be the final budget task force meeting 2025. Before we start, wanted to read out our hybrid policy. MCB4 has a hybrid policy that can be found on our website. Board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have an ability and or extraordinary circumstance. Excused members and members of the public will still be able to participate virtually. Members who are joining via Zoom must leave their cameras on. This meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel and a transcript is being recorded. For the information of, I guess it's Maria is joining us online. But we do not presently have quorum, and so we may, if we do not have quorum this evening, the things that we would vote on will not be taking a vote in a conventional sense, but the item would then have to come out of the executive committee if we don't reach quorum this evening. Okay. So just a little agenda setting this evening, we're going to go first through very quickly the list of expense and capital via the master list document that can be found in the Dropbox. We are then we're going to resolve two conflicts that exist in terms of those items priorities, and then we will I think we can sort of, if we have quorum, we'll vote on it. If we do not have quorum, we will in effect just make sure that we advance it forward, that there are no outstanding concerns with the members of the committee here gathered. After that, we will vote.
Consensus.
Yeah.
That's what consensus. A lot of head nodding.
Yeah, and non-binding for my lots of head nod. Okay, so I guess I don't know if we want to put up I think everybody has this up. If we want to put it up,
Yeah,
we can start with on the master expense budget request, and thank you, Desi, for putting all of this together.
Oh, yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it took a little, we can get better at it. So you want to do expense first?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the first tab.
and that's where usually more things, but this was, so that's so easy to do and must have been a lot of work.
No, honestly, it was, yeah, I mean, it took a little while. Fortunately, they sent me a template. I just used the template for now, and we can obviously always make it better, if we want to. Let me try to get this.
This was their template?
Yeah, I mean, they just sent me a spreadsheet that had all of the agencies listed out, so. I removed, I mean, after everybody submitted everything, I removed the agencies that we didn't, yeah, I mean, we didn't, so, yeah, and so then it's much easier, you're just putting them into categories and, we're not having to worry about, prioritizing really. Because like I said, like Roberta said, there was only one or two kind of air quotes around conflicts,
Yeah.
But I certainly very quickly for a clue, I literally just cut and pasted, so I haven't made any changes, so I would think if you wanna submit the changes, then before exec, that would be great.
Just kind of
Yeah.
things from back.
Last night, we did,
I'm gonna go show those.
Yeah.
literally
I
just
gotta
like.
think of the report.
So there were some narratives, all there were changes to the narrative within the requests, not necessarily, we removed a couple,
Remove the couple.
but.
There's grammatical changes and other.
Yes.
Yes, and we still welcome any sort of line edit radical changes to any of the items. I'm sure that we'll have a couple of rounds of that.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how you wanna go, you wanna just hit the conflicts first, or do you wanna?
I think we can hit the
And I don't think they're in expense.
yeah, they're only in capital.
They're only in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so you saw my changes, right? I see.
In terms of, you sent me a sheet, and
Right,
yeah.
they were up,
Right.
I used
In
that,
red,
okay.
so you should definitely double check.
that they're
Right.
Make sure that
Yeah,
they're
right,
accurate,
right.
cause I took the colors out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, do you wanna do you wanna
We
go
can
to?
start with the conflicts. The conflicts are in capital. I think the first is DOT and then the second is NYCHA.
Okay,
Okay. Where is the conflict? DOT.
With two number ones for DOT.
So why they're number one, so explain is that that's literally just what, you know, the committee
Yeah,
said.
but I said remove, it's a duplicate. That was my comment there,
Which one?
the second one,
Well, WPE, this is WPE's.
well.
So,
Yeah, but in DOT, we have two things, we have the construction street, we have other capital budget requests. And we have other capital requests, that's three, so we have 1 and 3.
and so your proposal would be to merge 1 and 3 as number 3 here.
Yes.
And remove that conflict. I think that makes sense
Right.
based on the discussions we've had.
That's definitely the way, what we did is we did a little survey of all our members. And they liked it, so that's the way it came out.
Okay. Are there any issues with proceeding in that manner? No, I think.
I mean, that's fine,
Well, we'll see whether let's leave a clear from this. I'm just gonna put it this way, right?
that's fine.
But I mean, we have a survey and people.
No, yeah, like I said, this is literally it was the only DOT.
Yeah.
Request out of WP, so I don't see this, yeah.
But we have it.
If it's number,
It's
if
not
it's
that we
number.
removed it. It's
Right, yeah,
like
it's
it's
there,
number 3.
it's lower, yeah,
Right.
got it. All right, so you wanna move on to, the other conflict?
Yes.
I see.
The other conflict here is between, I guess, Clinton, Health Kitchen land use and Chelsea land use with the two different NYCHA developments. I believe last year we had, the Fulton Elliott Chelsea is number 1 because of the profile that it had. And then I think, Clinton Health Kitchen Land Use said, MCB4 notes that money was once put aside for capital repairs at Elliott Chelsea. The city has since negotiated with private developers on redeveloping the site. Consequently, that money should be used in other NYCHA property within Community District 4, and so that is. The Hell's Kitchen land use argument that one should be number 1 as opposed to what it was last year, which I think was
So
number.
why don't you make it a separate item first of all? So the first item is shared, everybody's okay, but that second item is request to use existing capital on other NYCHA, which is what, Fulton or?
That would be Harborview, so that's what,
So, right,
that is what that's what, Hell's Kitchen land use is number 1 is to use that for Harborview.
I don't see, I can't believe there'd be an argument
Yeah.
to make the Harborview thing too.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
people understand that
1 and 2.
the most essential
Yeah.
issue right
Right,
now
right.
is in Fulton Elliott.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that, you know, the rationale about using the funds I get, but it's not, we've been asking about Harborview Terrace for
right,
decades, so, I mean.
and so it should be worded saying use the capital which has been allocated for NYCHA to do Harborview, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's, it does say that, it just doesn't, it says it in a kind of, it uses an explanatory
Right,
way of not directly saying it, but. Okay, so, but we're good with that, I think that, I don't think anybody would have an issue with that.
And just to clarify that you're saying that would put FEC as the number 1 and then Harborview is the number 2.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I don't think that would have, given just what we've heard over the past year, I don't see how that would create.
Yeah.
Issue. And those are the conflicts. We are going to wind up approving this, so it might be helpful to breeze through what all of the requests in a very, a quick manner.
Capital first, or,
it's shorter.
Yeah, we're on capital, so,
hold on, let me stop this, cause I realize I'm in a very truncated, right here.
Man, DOE is like a zillion of capital.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
oh, well,
interesting.
yeah, DOE does it, for sure. I want to be capital first.
Right.
and I'll like read them out as quickly as possible. I believe everyone has this up, so you can read
Yeah.
along on the sheet. So we'll start just with DOE, you have supporting PS 33 during phase 1 of NYCHA. For Fulton Elliott Chelsea, you have DOE for support facility modifications, PS 51, PS 33, and PS 11, technology upgrades, PS 11, 33, 51, 111, 212, and lab.
I'm sorry, why are we asking all that stuff? I thought related was going to do that,
That's
those things. Isn't it part of what they said?
Right, but I think it was a political, it's a political statement to say that these are important. So,
Okay.
And
to
there
the
are a
cities.
couple of places in here where we are asking for things, where the applicant. Didn't necessarily ask for that, have that financial ask, or the ask should be coming from the state or another entity.
So are we putting this as well in the national section?
No, because they're, I guess they want DOE to fund them, that is where
I would, if it is a political, pressure, I would put it in national lab.
I think that the money, the DOE would still be the pass-through.
Yeah,
Okay.
DOE would have.
Yeah. So would it even be nice?
NYCHA's not gonna invest in schools, but,
Yeah, but, yeah, or related, but it would still, it would still go through
Yeah.
DOE.
Okay, sorry,
That's.
No, it's a good question.
We're here to learn.
we feed.
Wi-Fi.
It's all about the. It's all about
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
All right.
So we have other capital budget requests, this is for doors and locks at Lab Middle School. We have urban assembly gateway in interior renovation. We also have 408 a ADA accessibility and cafeteria upgrades. There is an auditorium renovation at Bridges High School. There is a school library for Business and Sports High School, a PS 111 gymnasium, auditorium, ADA upgrade. There is a window replacement at Air Ruston campus in PS 2 and 2.
Yeah, that's not supposed to be there.
That's not supposed
Yeah,
to.
I need to remove that.
Okay.
No one knows what they're against.
What are those three things, which are 13, 14, and 15?
Hold on.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
DOE cap number, what is it?
That's 10.
10.
And then, yeah, we'll ask, I guess, about the
Which one?
13 through 15 in a minute, but 11, we've got PS 11 fund sign with a new name. For 12, there is a upgrade rooftop garden at PS 51. And then 13, 14, and 15 appear to be the same,
That's duplicated,
so
yeah,
it should just be 13.
yeah. I
And it should
don't know.
It should describe what it is, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Do we happen to know what the ask was there?
Yeah, it was a specific amount of money for, I have to go back, let me look at it.
Okay, but it went through the committee, so.
Yeah, I need to, I don't know what happened. Numbers.
14 and 15 are the duplicates.
13 to 15. Okay, good, let's keep up, yeah.
So those are the DOE, we now have Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. There is a request from Ryan Chelsea Clinton Health Center to one, an emergency preparedness system, outfitting their new mobile medical unit, and then replacing some old dental equipment. There is also another capital request for Ryan Chelsea Clinton Health Center to find additional space so that they can meet mental health services needs in the district. This is another one where they're not actually looking for money, but we have put it on here for
It's their one of their number one.
yeah.
You know.
And then we've got Department of Transportation now.
But I mean, in DOMH, we don't have any other things for shelters or anything like that?
Not under capital, under expense, we have stuff, but not under capital.
Okay.
And if we do feel like something is missing, and I have one note, we do have the opportunity to add them this evening, you know, if.
So I don't know, I don't know whether it's the case, it's a normal case, but 45th Street, the people didn't have ventilation and air conditioning, et cetera, you know? And that's, I mean, so,
You're talking about
remember?
the old hotel.
Right, so I wonder whether there are such requests that we are not aware of. That maybe next year, you know, we need to put on the map, because if people are in shelter which are really falling apart.
Mhm.
And those all generally come under usually HRA, but not necessarily.
Okay.
And,
Oh,
yeah, but, that definitely is a question that will be worth, Housing, Health and Human Services taking up and seeing if there's,
Yeah, because we have so much requests related to homeless.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have expense requests related to a lot of different support services, especially for folks going street homeless and then also coming out of the program, coming out of shelters and getting support. So we have all of that in expense. But in terms of capital, our biggest capital was for homeless related stuff was one, I think fund was getting this family shelter set up. Cause we lost that, we not got one, we got two. So I think we feel like we got what we asked for. And then the other thing was baby, and we got that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of these are ultimately expense requests because the city doesn't, I guess, own the sites, so they might be leasing, and that's its own.
Yeah.
Other element there. So we have transportation, Department of Transportation. The first is a 9th Avenue reconstruction, 51st to 34th. The second is the roadway maintenance, resurfacing the 8th Avenue bike lane. And then the third is the electric vehicle infrastructure. We then have Parks and Recreation. The first there is Dewitt, Clinton, renovation. The second is bathrooms generally, but the first being Dewitt, Clinton, Matthews Palmer, Chelsea Park. Those are the ones that are sort of highlighted or prioritized. There is the Penn South bathroom is its own with a upgraded park. An upgraded child-friendly bathroom, because they're currently undergoing a renovation. There is also a solar lighting pilot. There is a repair of the sidewalk at Gutenberg Playground that's been on there for a long time. There is a McCaffrey Playground renovation, and then there's a renovation of Gertrude Kelly Playground.
Should we put that repair of sidewalk in DOT as well?
Well, DOT does it, but it's funded by the agency,
Okay.
so funding stream wise, it would go to,
Alright,
Parks.
And the item that says identify a park to install solar lighting, we recommend Penn South, that's intentionally done not to say, do it at Penn South, it's more to say.
I think
Just pick your park
that's,
or.
there was, I think the intent was to say pick a park, I think Parks. If I'm recalling this correctly, Parks basically said that they were looking at Penn South. When Parks has a renovation slated for an area, they are likelier to explore different new things. That seems consistent with what they understood, so I think that was why it was highlighted.
Okay.
But I don't think that there is a preference per se, but.
Yes,
that
more to get a flag in the ground.
Yeah.
This has been something that's been batted
But
around WP for a while.
right, the other thing is that in the other parks, it's done by DOT.
Mhm.
So DOT guideline, so, you know, maybe in Penn, it's easier
Okay.
because it's Penn.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
so I think the other one, we got the no, we are not going to do it, it's from DOT.
Okay.
I think that, like, you know, sitting in many of those meetings, one of the considerations is that this is something that we really want to pilot, it really is just simply a pilot, but the limitation is that they need to have an area where there is no obstruction by shade to
Right.
the park.
Right.
So it feels like it's less up to us and really more up to the parks committee, say, here's what the canopies and this particular light structure, so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So on sanitation, we have. So. We have one, which is adding a gap truck from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. for corner basket pickup. And the thought is by basically increasing the amount of, that adding this gap truck, you increase the amount of corner basket pickup. That means that you are less likely to have overflowing corner baskets.
I will highlight this, I wasn't sure where this went, because we normally. Should it be in, because we usually put basket pickups, regular basket pickup stuff in expense, because it's really not about the
No, but this
truck.
is the truck here.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, I don't know if the gap truck was like I can't remember from the meeting was a long one. So
My
I
understanding
lost
is
track of
it's-
like it, but I don't remember whether it should be in capital or expense, so, I mean, either way, we can move it over, we can
Right.
shift it, but I wasn't sure if they were really asking for a truck, or they were saying we want more staffing for these hours for basket pickup, which is a request we made.
But don't we have it in both places? Is it in expense as well?
I don't know.
I thought it was just in, I'm not seeing it in capital, but now I would need to double check for expense.
It's interesting because I've been observing from a transportation standpoint. And having the garbage picked up at peak hour is not ideal.
No,
So if you have
Yes.
that truck, they are going to come and pick while we are at peak hour. And every time I see that, I say, this makes no sense.
yeah, it's crazy, from my
It's
school,
crazy,
from my kid's school, the 8 a.m. drop off, they have a garbage truck on that.
Right. right,
What is, I'm like,
right.
is this floor, baby? Like, there's just mass anger and chaos every day at 8 o'clock.
I think,
Because we also start Article 78 school,
Right.
so like, or 87, I forget which number it is, I always flip the numbers. So we've got kids that have disabilities, like, so they park diagonal, so they block the entire
Yes.
street, and so it's just like.
This is crazy, right?
Wow.
I think so it is only in capital, I think that the place this came from was through talking through, with one of the people in the commissioner's office who is relatively high up at sanitation, who effectively said that part of the reason your bins are overflowing is you do a single pickup a day. And this district has a very large number of corner baskets.
Yeah, no.
And at various points in time previously, the council member, whether it was Councilmember Botcher or someone else, had funded that additional pickup. To reduce the amount of trash in the corner baskets at any given point in time. And so the recommendation was to effectively pay for or hire that service out for an additional pickup for the
Well,
day.
so that's what I'm saying, I get a sense like this actually should get expensive.
I think that is correct.
Alright, so we'll fix that.
And still, I'm very concerned about doing it at peak hour. I mean, if they do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's great. But if they start doing it at 4, 5, 6, it's not great at all. Anyway, that's just one more.
Yeah, I'm wondering
Staying on
if
the
we can
ball.
add concern on timing suggestion. I don't know if it belongs in this narrative, but it may belong elsewhere in the narrative. Okay, so we have now the Economic Development Corporation,
Yes,
we have the cruise ship terminal, there is a. Desire for shore power, this has been a long-standing talk past. And the narrative's been reworked a little bit because the EDC is pursuing a cruise ship terminal master plan that is slated to potentially take a long time and to require extensive approvals. And so the ask is to please give us shore power.
now,
Shaking with it. yeah, just get me going on it, like, this is like, like textbook, let's just make things more complicated and just get everything dragged down into that actually having to commit to doing the thing.
Yeah,
That's what
now,
they were gonna do.
because we asked for show power,
Oh.
they want to put the piers.
Now the
going
pier's gotta be out of
600
Jersey.
feet
Like,
deeper
yeah.
in New Jersey. So you say, okay, how did we go from here to there?
I'll give a shout out on that. I'm not on the committee, I don't wanna speak for the committee or Leslie, but it's my understanding that that was supposed to be done. And then
Yeah.
they come up with this plan that's gonna just take forever and a day. And the
Yes.
community is the one that's suffering with it year
Yeah,
after year.
It's also being done at the end of administration, like the next
Right.
administration, yeah, turn around and go, yeah, this is not
This is not-
this is not my mandate, and I don't really care, so, you know.
They are trying to get.
Hopefully he'll be carrying a short power, and that might be it.
Yeah.
What's good with stressing.
But yes, it's, yeah, that definitely, hopefully is reflected in the narrative there. So we have HPD housing, we have two requests here. The first is, the adequate funding for, capital programs specifically for, 560 West 52nd and 464 West 25th, and then 500 West 52nd. And I think these are still outstanding.
Yeah, we have had this
Yeah,
thing
a lot.
for a long time, and it's very specific to one of our board members.
Mhm.
So should we have a little bit of a more generic language?
Well, I mean, we're on the board, like, Elizabeth,
Right.
you know, I would say we normally don't do that, we normally say here are the things we want to fund, and these are how you specifically. The organizations or whatever you wanna call them in our district that deserve the funding. And I think this is connected, Hell's Kitchen. Clinton Hell's Kitchen land use has been supportive of these two specific, or these three specific.
But we didn't get it for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's true, we also have had
Right.
things for the last 10 years, but like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I do think, I mean.
Forget about
I would
hear
say
you.
we leave it on. Also, I have a question. 46th Street is not mentioned here?
You mean under the senior and family preservation home program?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about senior. I know that they're at Hartley House. There's supposed to be residential apartments for seniors at some point. I don't know
So
when, but
that
I don't-
you guys, Maria, if you remember, you moved that to continuing support, because that was listed as
Oh,
being
okay.
funded and supported, so you moved Hartley House to continuing support.
Nope, I don't remember that. Thank you.
I gotta just pause and ask, capital subsidy as a capital project, I'm not quite sure I followed that.
It's HPD subsidy.
Yeah, but that would be typically fall under a capital project,
Yeah.
really, the
Yeah.
subsidy part? Okay, just, I don't know what it's.
I mean, we can certainly move the word subsidy, I don't think.
I think it's the
that's a
subsidy
stick-
part throws me on that, just cause I don't think of capital projects as being connected to subsidies. That seems like a policy issue, a legislative issue.
I mean, this may be
I'm not betting on
jargony,
it.
but where like
I'll-
subsidy, being capital dollars. The non-subsidy or something that is not subsidy might be like a tax exemption, a credit
Hmm.
or otherwise, whereas. I think jargon wise, people will refer to it that way, but if Maria, if you have a preference of how that's worded, or we can also. Switch it around.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I
then
don't-
we have, our NYCHA again, and that's, we have Fulton, Elliott, Chelsea interim repairs. And then we have Harborview, and then I guess our third would be elevators. Watershed.
So the first one, isn't it
The
the
first-
first one? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, I think what you were saying, Christine, about like the first one is FEC. That's what
Are you telling us or asking us, Maria?
asking.
Yeah, so we had a conversation at the beginning, saying that we think it wouldn't be, we think the board would generally approve of making the clue, ask, which is the complete interim repairs of Fulton Elliott Chelsea houses as number one. followed up by then the elevators at Harborview Terrace.
Oh, yes, I heard you say that. I thought it was
Okay.
fine as well. Yeah, that made
Yeah,
sense.
we haven't made the physical change to the document yet, but that's what we will do. And then, I mean, the third thing, that the elevator thing, I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we wanna keep that or not, or reword that, because we've already kind of we've already talked about Harborview elevators already. And so what
So
we're
what
really
else?
talking about is
The same thing.
Chelsea Elliott.
So what else there is to fix? As far as elevators, is there any other complex?
Like Folsom Elliott, Chelsea.
Yeah, so this
Yeah,
was,
but this- the
this was written, this is language has been rolled over many years. This was back when we were kind of doing, concerned about elevators across the,
Right,
all the whole thing. And this is also, it's got a sister request it should have a sister request in expense, which is about elevator maintenance staff. And so
so.
I actually don't know if we want, if
Right.
but it doesn't hurt to say we want money for elevators, but I will say we're gonna. Right, I think we wanna say we've already talked about our review in the second request. So if we're gonna talk about our elevators again, I think we should say,
This
Either-
needs to move to expense. There is no, I don't see an expense.
There isn't
elevator
one?
request, not here.
yeah, so I really
And
don't,
should we talk about Fulton, or there are no elevator issue at Fulton?
oh, I'm sure there are elevators at Fulton,
So
but like.
why don't we make the third one the specific Fulton request?
Well, that's, but we could certainly do that if we wanted to, because the way that the document breaks it up is elevators is an actually separate item than general capital repairs, so,
It's already,
Those are two different-
it's in Elvin, I mean, look at the.
yeah, exactly.
There's two different things, right? One is the elevators malfunctioning, the other one is related to the staffing.
Right.
And which should go in expense, so
Which is-
that number 2 in capital there, that says. It says that there should be unfilled skilled elevator.
Yes, this should be an expense. Okay, so that sounds, that's,
Expense, and that would be number 1, because it's the only night shift expense.
So what's the method of this thing?
we're moving it to, we have 2 capital requests for night shift, not 3.
And then this capital request is actually an expense request, and so
Right.
it'll be number 1 expense to do the elevator staffing.
Staffing.
So yeah,
Oh,
the
that we pay
hiring,
people.
yeah, the.
Okay,
And do we want to say anything about Fulton or not?
we already do in number 1.
We are?
Yeah, the first thing is, we talked about all about.
Fulton, Healthy, Chelsea does.
To complete the interim repairs at Fulton Elliott Chelsea houses. So, I mean, I think we covered that.
I don't see anything.
It says
We could
increase
elevator
security,
maintenance.
elevator maintenance, mold remediation.
Yeah.
repairing
Right,
these.
right, right.
So I
But
think
it
it-
doesn't say Fulton, right?
I think
It says-
Fulton Elliott Chelsea,
The first
time.
First thing.
Okay, I'm reading something different. I have a different document.
Okay. All right,
And then we have the New York City Transit Authority,
Right.
and we have the West 41st and 10th station for the 7. To extend the 7 service as number 1, and then number 2, to relocate the M42 and M50 bus termini and EV charger from Hudson River Park to the West Side Highway.
And
And then-
really,
Relocate 40 congestion pricing gantries from local streets to Port Authority properties.
good luck.
yeah, which, oh, yeah, got it,
Yeah.
That's where you don't see it, Germany, but.
Yeah.
Germany now, right?
Yeah.
Just like,
What we feel.
Somebody spent some time learning Latin. Very good.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, so I left NYPD in both, because I thought, based on your conversation, your description of what's gonna happen in the survey, maybe I'll want to include some.
Yeah,
Do you wanna jump to expense?
we'll jump to expense, and then we will go over the survey results, but I definitely have something to propose for expense, as it's basically an item.
Okay.
So going to expense, we are starting Department of Cultural Affairs, and this is support for cultural organization funding, Hudson Guild, Fountain House, The Kitchen, Chelsea Film Festival, and Open Culture Program. We have for the Department of City Planning, there's the study of the cumulative impact of Mueller approval since January 2021. There is under the Department of Aging.
So,
Sure.
I know it's the only thing, I just want to flag that, in committee, we've talked about that so much. That hopefully can be proactive, so we don't have to be playing catch up, doing problems after they occur.
And it's definitely something, we'll bring this up later, that hopefully we work into the narrative, the trends and what have you.
Yeah, I endeavor to throw something in there.
Yes. So we've got Department of the Aging, increasing the home delivered meals capacity. We have for the Department of Homeless Services, expanding street outreach. This longstanding been a top request. We have for the Department of Buildings, first funding enforcement. To code enforcement, and then second to expand funding for staff to expedite technology upgrades to effectively pre-restrict demolition on these applications and areas in which there are demolition restrictions. For three for the Department of Buildings, additional building inspectors for structural stability of landmark buildings and historic districts.
So that's just to flag that for, we discussed that last night.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones that we will need, we're gonna update the language, because we all agree that I think. Just saying inspectors doesn't really, what we're saying, it needs to be a kind of a new division or a new staff position in which someone is looking at these larger scale reservation projects when they're proposing massive development at these projects and really doing evaluation rather than just saying, oh, DOBs, because DOB is gonna say they don't do preservation. Preservation is gonna say, well, we don't do building code, and then that's where we're gonna be stuck. So we're saying we're gonna put a new language on that.
And great, well, I assume, reduce some language.
Yep. We go back for 1 second
Absolutely,
to the Department of Human Services. Really.
absolutely.
So is there a reason why these two items, the expand funding to increase targeted outreach to street homeless and the MCB4 15% increase in funds to outreach programs are in the same bucket? The reason for that is because Be Heard is
Say again, yours as well.
Be Heard is a 911 call that folks respond to,
That's good.
but that's not necessarily what the outreach programs at Breaking Ground, Goddard, BRC and Urban Pathways do. So I'm just gonna pausing to say, those are actually two different things, and they're both being bucketed in VHS, and that they're not necessarily VHS.
I also,
Be Heard, by the way, I'm not sure it's VHS.
The outreach is funded through DHS.
Yeah, well, the Be Heard program though was supposed to be related to the 911 call.
Well, no, so I think what happened, so, yeah, no, so Be Heard is a new addition. Be Heard was added last
it
year.
was added last year, and I think that at the committee level, and I have notes on this at some point. There was a discussion about taking out Be Heard and focusing on the outreach. Maria, do you have any additional anything to add on this point?
No, I think that was right.
Well,
That we
if Be
talked
Heard is-
at committee, we talked, no, I mean the part about what Roberta just said. At committee, we talked about taking out Be Heard. I believe that's what we did.
Yeah, that including an expansion of Be Heard is different than the rest of what that says.
But if Be Heard is brand new, don't we need to let it play a little bit?
Well, it's been
We
audited.
have it in our district, so it was only effectively piloted in certain areas, and this is
Also,
not,
it's not in our.
it's never been in our
But
district,
so is it going to be in our district?
not that we
Well-
know of.
So maybe we should have a line which says we want them in our district,
Well, again,
but then it's
Yes.
not the.
Your point remains, great,
the point here is to say, I would just suggest. If you plug Be Heard in, it actually changes or it expands what you're talking about, because the outreach to extreme homeless individuals connects to the 15% increase in outreach programs. But I'm just saying, Be Heard is not necessarily about homeless outreach.
What
It's
is
about mental health calls. So if I call 911 it's assessed as a mental health call, Be Heard is supposed to go. That's not necessarily someone who's a street homeless, so that could be.
Okay.
Are we,
Completely separate.
I guess I would defer
We
to
would-
folks at the committee. Would you guys wanna take Be Heard out and put it in as a separate item under what, Department of Health?
I mean, Maria, I
Other-
defer to you, but if
Other-
I am recalling the committee discussion, there was interest in taking it out entirely.
And
It is-
why?
Why?
It's a joint program under the FDNY and H&H. We could put it under H&H, on the transgender issue.
Or under FDNY,
I would have put under H&H.
I don't think
No.
so.
but under FDNY, if you're calling 911 and you want more support, then just put it under FDNY.
FDNY is, cause they got.
Oh, yeah,
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 EMS.
EMS, that's the
I'm
EMS.
sorry, I'm still thinking about a big red fire truck.
Yes, FDNY is related to EMS costs.
Right.
Well, we don't have any,
Right.
we don't have any FDNY expense,
Okay.
so if you wanna, I mean, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no,
Push something on it, I mean, I will say also, to my recollection, it's not as though Be Heard was ever presented or discussed at
At
housing.
the committee
At the committee level, so I could understand removing it
next
for
year.
the sake of saying, at least have it before the committee. And then you guys could say,
Right.
put it back in. I
Next
think
time.
this was,
Actually, this is correct. FDNY EMS manages the Be Heard teams and provides the emergency technicians. H&H provides mental health professionals. So FDNY EMS runs the program.
So you're sure there are three agencies, you're getting nothing?
well, no, but I'm just saying, we could, I don't, it doesn't. Well, if we wanna not, if we feel sensitive about removing it completely. I think you can put it under FDNY because there's no other
Right.
expense request for FDNY, so we're not kicking down another point. But if we don't, we also, you're saying collectively, the committee was not necessarily. Ecstatic about the Be Heard program in general or supporting it. Then. Or if we don't know yet, then maybe we just take it out and say, we gotta put it on the triple HS agenda for next year, and you
I
guys make a
think that's the
decision.
right thing, and then if you don't have it in our district, the only question is whether we want it or not. It's not, we want more money, it's like,
Right,
we don't have it.
well, and if it's not in our district, I don't even know if they'll talk to us about it, so.
Right.
So what do you guys, I defer to, I mean, you guys, Roberta and and Maria.
Maria said.
Well, I was looking up to, and I see what, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Kevin, what Kevin mentioned. I think what Greg is saying though is right. I think I assumed the funding for Be Heard was coming from like DHS or DOH-MH, but it looks like, according to Google, that it's not. It's what Kevin said. So I think it does make sense. If we're gonna keep it in, it's two separate things, and one is going to FDNY.
But Maria, do you wanna keep it in or at all, or do you prefer to keep it in and move it to FDNY?
Well, listening to what you all said, I would keep it in.
But isn't it what our guideline that we do, there are letters and then the thing of the letters go into the budget?
The one place where we sort of override this is when we're looking at our survey responses. So for example, I'm not sure we're
Where is it?
technically on record on foot patrols. For example,
The survey,
no, the
No,
surveys.
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I think we are on record from
I
our
think
state
we are.
district.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could
And
certainly,
this was in there last year, so.
I mean, yeah, are you connecting the dots between Be Heard and then
Yeah.
the survey?
Yes.
Concerns, concerns related to the availability of social services and then just there's a lot of mental.
Okay, so
illness
maybe
related.
that's how we do it this year, and then what we say to
Yeah.
Triple HS, if we wanna continue to talk and have this, then we should really have something. Be Heard should come
Right.
and present,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So it's going to FDNY?
Well, I think so, it'll go under FDNY and it'll be as a response to the survey, assuming that
Let's
that's.
be specific that you want it in this district,
Yeah.
because right now it's not in this district.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright,
Which is what you said, yeah, you gotta double check that it's not.
that's a good way to.
Alright.
Nice.
That was
Sausage is made.
Right there.
Win-win for everybody.
Yeah. All righty, moving on.
VOB.
Thank you, Greg, by the way.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
Let's don't do it again. All right, where are we?
Alright, so
Are
we
we here?
have, I think we just finished, we finished DOB and then we brought ourselves back to,
DOE expenses.
and now we're at Department of Education.
Okay,
So we have, expanded funding for pre-K and 3K seats. And then, we also have, funding to maintain student technology. There are, expand funding for bilingual educators. And then for 4, we have adequate expense funding for PS33 maintenance. And so that is also tied to Fulton Elementary. For the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, we have provided more information and services related to STIs, HIV, AIDS, and family planning. And these are going to various nonprofit health organizations in the district. We have Department of Transportation, a sizable list.
Who put that together?
Okay, so we've got conducting traffic or parking.
Okay, wait, implement the busway moved up again, right? I moved it up in number 1.
Okay,
which one, I'm sorry, which number is it?
The other DOT funding request, implement a busway on 34th Street.
Number 5.
Right, it was
5
moved
is
to
now
2.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's number, okay.
5 is now.
no, 5 is 42nd Street.
yeah, for.
The first one, 34th Street, I thought was going to be continuing support, but then
Gotcha.
Trump stopped it.
Right.
So now it's not continuing
Yep.
support.
Yep. Got
I'm sorry, so was that,
It was an item at the bottom of the list,
okay,
and
So-
or it was in continuing support, and I moved it back up to number 1.
Okay,
the 34th Street busway is not.
Right. Right.
and everything is just down to
Everything is
one.
exactly.
Okay,
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 okay, and so then number 2 would be the traffic and parking studies.
The daylight,
Daylighting.
right.
There is a sidewalk capacity and pedestrian demand study for 9th Avenue, 33rd to 51st. There is bike corrals along 9th Avenue. There are new bike lanes at Crosstown, widen existing ones. There is implementing a busway 42nd Street end to end. There is a fixed study and fixed dangerous intersections. There are a couple listed here. Other DOT maintenance and upgrade of bike and pedestrian infrastructure. There is a study of protected bike lane extension on 11th Avenue, 23rd to 38th. There is vertical separation along 11th Avenue, bike lanes for vehicles who drive in the bike lane. There is an implement safety measures at Dyer Avenue and 42nd Street, including a signage signal timing. There is adjusting the signal timing on 9th Avenue on both avenues and cross streets to reduce gridlock and create a clean way for cyclists and pedestrians. There is adding vertical bollard and cement blocks to prevent cars from using the neck down West 31st and 8th Avenue.
What about that? You saw the truck that bumped into another truck and hurt 12 pedestrians on the sidewalk?
no,
Was that there?
That was just across the
Yeah.
street.
That's right.
No, I mean, I saw it on the news, but I didn't,
Yeah, crazy.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So there is bus shelters on West 23rd Street. We have safety measures at 11th and 30th and 29th. There,
No, I don't have that. Oh, I have 2 things here. A new one, which is install pedestrian ramps at 270 intersection,
okay,
which is the survey we just did.
okay,
but that's, where is that, what
Yeah.
number is that?
It would be after the install bus shelters on 23rd Street.
So that would make
14,
It would be 14 except that 40,
15.
yeah,
It'll be 15 because everything's shifted down.
right, sorry.
And then I moved up, the study of redirecting the traffic from Dagger Avenue, the next one. It was 19 and I moved it up to this location, which would be 16, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, the one that you just said before, is that listed somewhere already, or is that?
it's 19. Oh, you mean the one,
The one previous. I'm
The
sorry.
pedestrian, no, it was not listed, we just sent the letter.
Okay,
was it in the email that you sent, the new 16?
Yeah, that's part of the thing I sent,
all right, so it's in your email.
right,
Okay,
it's my email, it's in red.
and
Sorry,
then
not-
the old 19 is now 16. It's
Right.
there as well. So that is the redirection of traffic, the study, northbound Dyer Avenue to 11, close, Lincoln Tunnel traffic.
Right.
Entrance from west 34, 35, 36, and that'll be number 16. That'll make, the number 17. That'll make number 17 then the hire and train personnel to inspect open dining.
No, there is another one before that, which was number 14,
Okay, so that,
safety measure of 11th Avenue and
okay, so
30th.
that'll be number 17,
Uh-huh.
and then everything else, okay.
Okay, well, there is another change there. Then we have hire and train additional personnel, right? And then,
Which is
num-
18.
yeah, and then number 20 was moved up, which was normalize the West 30th Street.
Okay, so number 20 will
I'm-
become number.
I'm sorry I missed this email, because I got your original. So what you sent me though, or what you sent all of us, is the whole list redone.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's easy enough.
Yeah,
I think as long as we're all comfortable with
You have
that,
the marker.
that's
the
fine, as long as it's all
it's
read,
committee approved.
I will
then-
update that accordingly.
Yes.
Okay, so
Sorry
the-
about all.
No,
that.
no, it's,
number 20 is now the new number 20, normalize the west 30th. And then you have, let's see. I think number 21 would then be
number one.
number 1.
Yeah.
No, there are two more things behind that, but that's okay. You'll see it on the list.
All right,
what
can you
are-
just say what they are for the sake of
Yeah.
everybody
Well,
else?
requesting change to two adjoining intersection on Route 9A and 18th Street. And then resolve traffic congestion at intersection of 9th and 1516.
All right,
Okay.
So those two are the last
Yeah.
two. But,
Greg, you got a problem with one of those?
No problem. Nope.
oh, and then
Right
there's
in the
what,
way.
other duty funding. Fixed and
So the
safe
E5 down?
condition at West 9,
Okay.
which were all on the, right?
Yep,
Okay.
all righty.
And now we are at parks. So the first, we have additional PEP officer, Parks Enforcement Officer staffing. And we
I don't know why there's question marks in that at the end of it. In my version.
we will fix the
That's
question
it,
marks.
Microsoft Word,
Yeah, that's just that's just.
that's the Microsoft.
And then our number 2 here, this is just park staffing generally, park staffing relates to trash pickup, it relates to being able to open bathrooms. So just all sorts of park staffing. There is a request for a second shift staff, so later shift staff, because the sports play area at DeWitt Clinton is open later. So they want staff around to keep the bathrooms open. There are playground associate funding requests. This has been funded in the past. They do programming at parks and playgrounds. And then there is a funding for forestry staff for tree maintenance. And then number 6, there is funding for 15 green thumb staff and supplies.
You want to include the word funding in the playground associates summit? You notice it's just a description, there's no act, I don't think there's an actual ask. Whereas.
That's a great,
funding-
yeah. Yes, that is a great idea. We will do that. Thank you, Greg.
See, I pay attention to this.
No, you're a valuable member of this committee.
You lost me. I'm back now.
I know he's back.
I'm back now.
Which number is that, by the way? I'm sorry.
That would be number 4 under Department of Parks and Recreation, to add some funding language. I will I'll also, check back with Leslie, who is not present with us, but who has been drafting a lot of that language, so.
There's just no word, it's what you want from, it's.
I know that changing the subject just a little bit, but you remember some time ago, we were meeting with the agency and discussing those things?
With parks?
No, with DOT, with parks, with everybody. You remember when the process at the time?
Do you mean the borough ones?
Right,
Yeah, the borough still exists.
but doesn't include each of the chair, right?
It can,
Okay,
if, I mean,
it's too much.
I mean, I don't necessarily, I haven't opened that up in a long
Right.
time,
But
but.
this was like, remember, that was with each committee.
Christine wants to talk to the Department of
No,
Transportation.
what I'm saying is that it's valuable, I mean, I have
No.
talked to the Department of Transportation about all those things, but
Yeah.
that would be really valuable for each chair.
No.
To talk to the department and say, okay, is it even feasible, guys?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
tell me, forget about it.
Yeah,
You say,
I-
okay, put it below the line.
Yeah, I would say that we typically we do that with parks specifically,
Right.
because with Steve Simon, who's the chief of staff for Manhattan, this year, just timing wise, it just wasn't able to be done, so he did submit their requests, but parks is unique because their budget is non-existent and.
And it comes from Eric.
Yeah, it comes from council members, so, but I would say the borough consultations that do happen. They're done in such a way that are, in my opinion, you're not gonna have that.
No, it
frank
doesn't work,
conversation,
right,
yeah.
right.
Cause you're
But
sending the
you-
agendas way in advance, you have to send the agendas in July,
Right,
and they have to be very formal.
but
And so you're not
maybe
having a
what
frank
we do
conversation.
next year or something, we say sometimes during the summer. You just get the list of the people and give them to the committee and invite them.
That's, that's
Invite
completely,
them to the meeting,
yeah, I mean.
to each committee meeting.
And Parks did come, for example, to the
Right.
Parks
Parks
Committee
comes to
meeting, and
every
it-
committee.
I mean,
Parks is there all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah,
helpful, because you could ask.
Yeah,
them
and
about
DOT
them.
is with you guys a lot, but I think,
Right.
yeah, I mean, listen,
It's
I
an
think,
agency.
yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, anyway, sorry, I'm
No, but definitely.
diverging.
It is a great recommendation, particularly in the context of the budget, to have the agencies come around the budget. To the extent that they do not. Anyway, we are on Department of Sanitation.
So this is gonna change, right? I'm sorry, Kevin, go on. So.
I don't know if I'm jumping the gun or stealing your thunder or. I should have brought up on the capital as well. But in reading both the numerical responses, but also the verbal, I don't know how other folks felt, but the amount of people who chimed in about trash bins not being there or being broken and the garbage need being picked up. I would think on the capital side, we want to say there should be more trash bins and appropriate trash bins, because I'm not fully knowledgeable, but the way it was described, they're falling up, the metal. The bag of things doesn't,
Yeah.
I think this is coming apart. And on the expense side, I guess we would need more sanitation personnel to pick up the trash services.
So there are a couple of problems, and I think we got into this a little bit at Parks, Waterfront and Environment. We can also pick this up in the narrative, but what people are talking about, certainly having more basket pickup could help with overflowing baskets. But and where this gets tied in is you have a lot of commercial entities putting out their trash in front of their establishments. And it sits there for a certain amount of time, and people do not want that, or it sits there for a period of time that is not lawful. Or it is illegally dumped, and some version of that is meant to be addressed by that particular.
Yeah, I
task.
think the wording of this in
Could be
particular,
better.
one thing I just wanna say, I think let's try to get through this list, and then I'm assuming we're gonna go to the survey.
Yeah,
And then we'll be adding stuff from
But Jen, you
that.
gotta acknowledge.
no.
But I think the
legit.
wording on this particular sanitation expense request is confusing.
Okay,
Cause I think if we're talking about illegal dumping,
Then we want more enforcement.
we want enforcement about that, but then we start talking about it, I get it, that what ends up happening is people start putting illegal dumping by the trash cans or filling their trash cans with illegal dumping. But then it gets, from my read of it, that would be,
Two seconds.
we're mixing the two things. And so I think we separate this to be clearly just illegal dumping. And then I think if we're gonna, we already agreed to move the capital gap truck thing into expense, right? If my memory serves. So we're putting that into expense already, so there'll be another, I think that should be number one compared to illegal dumping. And then if there's additional things we wanna add from the results of the survey, I think we should do that.
When should we be asking for, they have new containers, right?
You mean the city
The
bins,
corners.
not the.
No, the
Well, the
corner.
corner bins, this is, and if you read the survey results, and I know what Kevin is talking about. People are complaining about the new bins,
Uh-huh,
yes,
because they stay open.
yeah, they
It's
say,
supposed to be a magnetized.
yeah, it's a magnetized
Yeah,
mechanism rather than a latch.
So people are opening them because they wanna get the cans out to get money.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen to the end of days. No magnet is going to ever last those guys opening it 60 times a day, looking for bottles and cans. I mean, it just is. I don't,
But if you're
unless we're gonna
smaller,
lock it
previous.
and not allow them access, which we could do that, but I mean, that's just. People are gonna do it. I mean,
And we've also, in previous years, requested they replace the old bins with these better bins.
right, I mean, that was a huge,
And they are
that was a big
not-
win for
yeah,
us. We said we wanted the better bin program. And we
And
wanted a better
Fiscal.
bin program.
Right.
So there are pros and cons we've learned to the new better bins and it is not clear that we're going to fix that specifically, but there are things that we can do to ensure more frequent pickups and also that people are using them in appropriate ways and enforcement.
So I guess the question is, just for clarity's sake, going down this sanitation, because we were, right now we're at one, so there's no argument, there's no discussion on it. But we're gonna be expanding on this,
Yep.
right? So we're gonna have
You're going to have a two.
you're gonna have at least two, right?
Right.
I think the second, the dump, the gap truck staffing is more as a more priority than this one here.
Yeah, because the overflow. Well, you need two things. You need the gap and then you need enforcement.
Yeah.
And they need to have more people walking the street and enforcing.
Well, yeah, this is what this thing is asking. Oh,
This one,
this one is asking for enforcement,
right,
basically. It
but
doesn't say it.
it's not very clear.
Right,
But
that's what I'm saying. It needs to
should
say
be
enforcement,
to Enforcement,
right?
and the other one should be,
Staffing
gap
between the
truck
truck,
and pick up
And
more often.
right, and I think that should go first and then enforcement is second, and then if.
Or give us container, which are bigger. I mean,
We brought
right?
this was a thing that we actually brought up in parks and I was sort of interested, I asked, I think, whether or not we wanted to add that.
Right.
But I think Leslie and Marty's response was that we have not sufficiently considered it as a committee, so we didn't want to recommend.
So
the
right,
city bins
yeah,
or whatever.
so right now it's like, just ask for more pickup.
Mhm. All right.
Yep.
Moving on.
It's expensive to the city, though, the other solution is less. Right?
But what about our?
Oh, what about the plastic?
Oh my.
God, you really want to do it, okay.
All
No.
right, stay on top.
Sorry. Anyway, we have youth and community development. The first is funding for after school programs. And then the second is for ESOL programs in city shelters. I have not confirmed whether or not that is a continued request given the changes.
So I got confused because we agreed to remove it from Hercs, because there's no more Hercs in our district. Hercs, which are
Like
the Watson.
Like the Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi, exactly, the Wi-Fi of scope. And so we specifically asked when this pilot program started, was to say, why don't they think they can put it into shelters? And they said that because the population was so transient that it was really difficult to be able to reason the support
Right.
funding for it, because people, as they should, they come into shelter and they wanna be out of there and they have a place to live, or they have a place to move to, or they have family or whatever, and they go. And so then who you have in one of these classes one day could be completely different. So I'm a little I would have to defer back to, I don't know if folks who were at the committee remember, but I felt like we just said we were taking this off.
Just confirm it with an email.
Yeah, we would need to
Because
confirm it.
we can't figure it
Yeah.
out, we can't make
Yeah.
that decision.
It doesn't match up anymore with what's happening either, because that's not.
No,
Right,
And-
they specifically said they wouldn't do it in shelters.
Yeah, they didn't start that process.
So,
I think Jesse has it correct.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so we're likely going to remove
Yeah.
this.
That's
We will need to
the-
confirm, but likely remove. So the next one we have is a new request for the Health and Hospitals Corporation. And this request is could perhaps use a little bit of working, but the and because I don't know if there is a very specific funding request, however, there is a concern from the federally qualified health centers and health centers that receive some sort of federal funding, that they are jeopardizing their federal funding by providing gender affirming care, and so there is now interest in basically asking HHC to back that up and make sure that
But that's a policy statement, it's not a budget statement.
I think that there's back that up with money.
No, if it was written that it said fund gender affirming care regardless of income and or federal mandates.
Yeah.
That's a financial ask.
Okay,
Perfect, we will reword that and then
Something,
fund.
gender affirming.
Right. Okay, so we have a Human Resources Administration request, which is, this is a request for shelter programming to, and discharge planning to better help individuals transitioning out of shelter into permanent housing. I know that this is one where there's some plans to do a little bit of rewording or reworking, but the goal is to ensure better transition from shelter to permanent housing in the district.
Increase funding for that.
right,
So we will just reword that to say increase funding for these particular services. Discharge planning, et cetera.
right.
So we have another one for Department of the Landmarks Preservation Commission. We have I guess reduce case backlog.
I would move the last sentence up to the front and
Yes.
say
Yes,
increase funding
for.
to help reducing case
So the
backlog.
first
First
sentence
down.
should be, please pay attention to us.
It's very.
But the request is for staff. Or staff hours,
Increase funding
Yes.
for staff.
yeah,
Yeah.
To.
pay attention to us.
And we're gonna be adding, I think, some locations on this.
Yeah.
My understanding.
Okay, that is helpful. Okay, so we also have a funding to renew and update the study of small independent theaters from the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. And I think that, oh no, we do have one more on here. It is from the Office of Management and Budget, which is provide funding earmarked for cannabis enforcement to city agencies, like the New York City Sheriff. Yeah, I think that is funding for a city state cannabis coordinator would be welcome. Was this updated from?
Not outdated,
Okay.
we have that,
yeah.
we have.
Okay, so we'll update, we'll figure out how to update that.
So I have three for NYPD in that document I have sent it to you. One is enforcement of bicycle laws, enforcement of vehicular laws, and removal of barriers and garbage in subway stations.
Sorry.
So it's in
What was the second one? That's
the second one is enforcement of vehicular laws.
okay.
And then the third one is removal of barriers and garbage in subway station. We have a letter about that.
Sorry. Okay.
I sent you the email.
Yeah, no, I have it, thank you. It's the NYPD's job to remove garbage. from-
No, but they have, this is their garbage.
Oh, their garbage.
Remove your garbage
Right.
from my subway
It's
station.
a new sanitation task.
Sorry, I was confused.
Stop being so sloppy.
Right. No, what they've done is that on
Yeah.
42nd Street, they are taking half of the space and they're putting all their garbage
I thought it was in the subways.
in the subway.
What's in the subways?
Christine, in terms of like enforcement of vehicular laws or bicycle speeding by, like, so does the budget ask look like? Yeah, we need more foot patrol?
Oh, yeah,
or-
yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it
Yeah.
should be more foot patrol to do that.
Yeah, so I think, yeah,
Yes,
be
yes,
more
yes.
specific to be
Yes.
like, you know, cause it
That's a
sounds like
good
we're
one.
just saying do your
It's hard
job.
to get these bicycles, they're moving, I think we need to get these sneakers. Running shoes. I see these guys have shoes, they're big and clunky, they're combat boots, they're not chasing down a bike,
Agree.
you know, get them some Nikes, you know.
Or something like,
You know?
I don't know.
We split our budget.
Yeah, you know, these in roller skates.
Or they're on
Basics.
No, exactly, I've seen them on bikes, I've seen them on bikes
Yeah.
on occasion.
Yeah. So it's foot and bike patrol, that's what it is, more money to fund foot and bike patrol.
Okay.
I assume that is for the bike ask specifically. And then the vehicular ask is for.
You're
For,
gonna movie violations?
No.
Okay,
I mean, is that for just foot patrols or foot and vehicular?
That's
patrol?
for everybody. It's
Okay,
like, do your job, that's the message.
okay, so just staffing check.
Right.
it's a political document, that's all.
No, but I can't say enforcement of bicycle laws if I don't put enforcement of vehicular
No,
laws,
I-
right?
Well, I mean,
I
I think
agree.
it's also consistent with the
So-
the survey results.
Are we also asking for more officers? Because they're down officers.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think that,
not making that determination.
We have,
That's too.
I would say, can
murky.
that can jump to the survey requests.
Right.
yes, it's a great transition, so I mean, the other thing, it's,
I'm trying
it
to,
is either, are there more officers or are the same officers working more? And I, for our purposes, I don't think we care,
We
which
should
they
make-
may care, but
We should
we
make
don't.
that decision for them.
Um,
We should just say, do the job. you know?
Yeah, we don't care if it's, like, as long as there are the same, like, a certain number of people in the place, like, we don't care if they're the same people that they've already hired or new people.
yeah, I don't wanna prolong this, but the reason I bring it up is I go to those monthly meetings. And in some part of the reason there are some issues is there's not enough officers
When
to,
they're always going to tell you,
so
they're always going to tell you
Yeah.
that. It's like, you know, oh, we need to move a car, oh, we need more staff.
I got you.
And,
Yeah, it's-
and, you
But
know,
when we consider,
backing
you could certainly make a separate request about more officers after this. Out of a result of the survey conversation, if we
Yes.
choose to.
Well, let's
If we choose
talk
to.
about the survey.
Yeah, I think that's what we do.
Okay.
so, I mean, and we did this last year, I'm probably going to recommend we do this again, is where our number one NYPD expense ask was specifically about foot patrols.
Right.
And if I were to, go through the survey and look at people's number one comment, that is probably
And that
the
should
most.
be one more, I mean, that should go on the top
Yes,
of the.
yeah, that should be the number one for,
Because that, we've been asking that since
Yeah.
COVID, I mean, essentially.
yeah, but.
Foot patrols?
Yeah, so in theory, that would just be,
Right.
that'll wind up being number one, but I think that we should go over the survey result. If you want to, we can put up the summary document, the summary, it's in an Excel file, emailed it to you. If you do not have it, let me know, happy to send it again.
You emailed it to me, I'm sorry.
I emailed it to you, I emailed it to everyone.
Okay, that's,
I'm part of that group.
Yeah.
I assumed, but I.
Like TYLY, like in terms of the responses.
I will, I think very strong, and to that, I think we owe it to our outreach director, Kevin, if you wanna talk through. Just your approach and if you did what.
Ooh, that-
Would love to hear you, you know,
It's a which app you, yeah, seriously,
Siri.
shout out to you, Kevin.
Yeah, if you wanna just like let us know a very brief overview of, your successes with the outreach, what worked, what didn't work, any recommendations.
So how many people responded?
562.
Oh, that's huge.
That's the highest number we've ever had,
Yeah,
Wow.
highest number we've ever had.
right.
So exciting.
So Roberta asked me to say a few words, so. If I could thank the members of the candidates.
Oh, boy.
No, but in all seriousness, Jessica, Roberta, and Jesse for being willing to try different things, right? Because we're not willing to try different things, you end up with the same results, right? So, they asked me to get involved in the house tree strategy. I think we started off at 100, about, when you said,
Yeah, our initial was like close to.
yeah, so we bumped it up to like 560 something, so,
Maybe.
and then just like bullet pointing, what worked. I also want to thank the other community board members who not only did the survey, but also spread the survey around. And actually thank the community members, because if you actually read some of those comments, some of them thought, some people put time into that. And so that should be, I think, appreciated, because so much of what we do in committee throughout the whole year is based on our budget asks and what we engage with the community. So this is a very good way to hear from the community. But I treated this like an organizing assignment. So I reached out to all 50, whatever the number is, board members and personalized emails. And that was, I think, very helpful as personalizing this. And then followed up with as many people as I could saying, can you please reach out? I mean, if you think about it, if each of the board members represents a community, and each of us got 5 people, that'd be 250. We got 10, it'd be 500, right? So if you know somebody, and then some board members took that, and I appreciate that, they reached out to the board associations. I would call the committee chairs at some meetings and ask them, can you talk about it? I bumped into some people on the street, they bumped into, they mentioned that they're block associations, so I think that was helpful. Jesse gave me a list of block associations, community groups, tenant associations, that was about 150 of those folks, so I personalized emails to all 150. Which took a little bit of time, plus you had the 50th board member, that's 200 personal emails. But some people responded back, so I either I got into a little dialogue with them over the email, or in a few cases spoke to them on the phone. And then the third thing is, groups that I knew, tenant associations and block associations, or advocacy groups that I know, asked them to share it with their listservs, which I know some of you think. I reached out to the electeds, especially Councilman Botcher, Senator Simone, State Senator Brown Siegel. Then I want to give a shout out, we thought the press. So West 42nd Street newsletter, Kate Savage, appreciate her doing an article interviewing Roberta. I think that was helpful, because there was links to the surveys and then overall follow-up. So I think that worked well. And I think you asked me to say a few words what maybe we could do.
Sure, yeah.
In the future.
Okay.
Something I could have done better was I could have done a better job identifying businesses. I feel like I did a decent job of contacting with board members and people and block associations, but I could have done a better job in identifying businesses and figuring out.
Like business districts, maybe without like bids.
Bids, but also, I don't know, we wanted to
It's
contact,
very hard.
yeah, like, Joe's Pizza Shop or,
Right.
that kind of thing. But I'm just constructive criticism for myself. Should we start earlier and announce it earlier, like?
Yeah.
I did some one-on-one conversations with the full board, but we had done that like a month earlier, maybe I could do a little bit more. Social media, that's the world we live in today, so social media. And like maybe going out to the community, like block fairs, these block parties, etc. So those are just some thoughts.
Those are great, and definitely, I mean, it's a great achievement, and there's always more stuff we can do to help beat it next year.
Within the bounds of reality and
Yeah.
time and all that
Budget.
stuff, budget,
I loved that it was so short.
Yes.
I don't know, have we done that in the past? Keep it like.
I think intentionally I've kept it short, and there's a very open response.
Yeah.
If you would like to write an essay, by all means, but I don't think we make people do that because we want them to finish the survey.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were trying to mimic the the statement district needs style as well, which is just basically what are your top three, right? So we're not trying to get farther into that because it's kind of in the weeds.
Can you put it up so we can talk about it?
No, yeah. The leafy, well, yeah, I do wanna, I mean,
But
Kevin,
bravo, this is.
yeah, Kevin's is a
Great job.
huge amount of praise. No, it wasn't, it was.
Yeah, yeah, that's like a lot of muscle.
Best way to do it.
Okay.
Try to increase that a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm really doing that.
No,
So no big surprises here. We have a distribution that's pretty similar to what we saw last year, where you're pretty close between your top two, but crime and public safety and police community relations remains the number one concern in the district. With affordable housing and land use following very close behind that. And then your next are quality of life issues, trash removal and cleanliness, social services, and then traffic and street conditions. I think you see a pretty sizable drop off after traffic and street conditions, which does not mean that other people do not find those important, but that those are, that's where you start to see people not prioritizing many fewer for their top three. So with the similar distribution from last year, there's not necessarily a huge need to completely rework the top issues. But there are opportunities to add the foot patrols. There are also some opportunities to think about if there are any changes we'd like to make to the trends and top issues. I have some thoughts here, but I don't know if there are any initial reflections on the survey results or comments that should be made before we take a look at the narrative.
I don't know, Roberta, where you wanna put this, but I downloaded the 311 open data for Jan 1 to 9/25, just arbitrary to when I pulled this, and it sort of overlaps with this, but let me know when you want me to chime in with kind of like the buckets.
That would actually be great and additive here, and certainly would love to also, if you have it written down, to add it maybe to the narrative so that we can bolster this in addition to the survey, but if you'd like to provide an overview, that would be great.
So there were about 41,011 records of complaints. 25% of which are like really small buckets, so we put them in other. So it's really just, it doesn't fit under a big bucket, but the headline is that noise and homelessness were the two largest complaints in our community board for year to date. So that was kind of a big aha for me, because I didn't think that noise was so high up there, and homelessness. The next, which was 11%, so I said noise was 19%, homelessness was 19%, so they're neck and neck. Vendor in taxi enforcement was 11%. What does that mean?
Well, street vendors.
Oh, okay. And then illegal parking and traffic related issues was 10%. Dirty or unsanitary, so I imagine like DSNY related stuff is 5%. Heat and water, that was like 5%. I was like, okay, that seems like baseline. Our residents should be having reliable service to heat and water. Street and transit infrastructure related was 3%, and non-emergency police was 3%. So that was like the big buckets besides other. So I can communicate this, but what I just really wanted to headline it was noise that hasn't been reflected in our surveys. Homelessness was also up there, so I don't know how that like connects to police. Because oftentimes when I see the survey around like police, some of it is like perceived crime versus actual crime, because we see our crime numbers going down, but we still see, and I feel like it's more of impression around homeless people and feeling unsafe around some of these mentally ill homeless people that is informing our, crime.
I think that, first off, thank you for the deep dive on this. This is incredibly helpful. Two, I think this is a great way to transition into the discussion because both reading the survey results and then also reading this narrative, there is this sort of disconnect where individuals are experiencing a great deal of disorder, some of it in fact unlawful, and some of it, whether it be an overflowing wastebasket or someone who is apparently harassing them, but not in an unlawful way,
Yeah.
that leads to this perception that there is crime, but perhaps it's less crime and more disorder. I will note the number 3 concern for the survey was that quality of life. We definitely got a lot of noise, and I feel like at some point in the past we've had some sort of like noise, like DEP noise camera letter or some
Yes,
variety.
We did.
Yeah,
But this is like one out, I mean, noise is the biggest complaint in the whole city.
yeah,
Really
Yeah.
is. And in some district, like, Morningside or whatever, it's crazy. So there is a big problem there and, it's enforcement, obviously. It's enforcement, like if every car that honks should be given a ticket, and it's difficult to enforce, but so now there are cameras to do it, and I think we need to invite DP to a meeting, either in the quality of life committee or in the transportation, whatever. Right,
Probably put it in transportation.
right.
I mean, I think,
And we need to ask, what are they doing, what it would be, and then we can invite NYPD and say, what are you going to do, this is really out of control, and then get our elected official.
I will say that every month DEP sends me their numbers on complaints from 311, and the noise complaints are dramatically leaned towards after hours construction. Which is not.
Oh, yeah, so that's not that.
and we
So
also.
for our district, it's really about construction. It's after hours construction, and then it's regular construction.
Right,
And then it trickles down from there. So I would, I think,
it's a mix of DOB and then DOT too, because they are the one allowing people to make construction, we are allowing the construction time.
yeah,
DOB.
we have a lot of street.
So what we have in our neighborhood is like, people are, as soon as the night comes over, then the DOT people start to dig. So you never get relief, right? So if you have a lot of construction, it's, they just dug 39th Street end to end. I'm sure everybody called.
Well, what was that? I feel like there's some noise mitigation things that like a lot of these huge construction projects are doing. I feel like it was in WPE where I heard about there's like ways to construct these like sort of temporary walls. So
Right.
that it kind of
But
like,
they don't, I mean, this is the small construction. And we can't resolve that here, but I think it's a huge flag, and maybe that's something we could decide
I guess the question is,
to focus on, right?
the way we wanna roll this out and have this
Yeah.
conversation, Roberta, is do we wanna talk about it from the narrative first perspective? And then budget requests from that, or do we wanna just do we have proposals for budget requests based off the survey?
Other than the foot patrols, I do not believe that we have additional. Especially, so if I'm looking at trends from the survey, a lot of foot patrols, there were concerns about just general mental illness issues on the street. There were the piles of trash, which could be resolved by containers, but I don't think the committee was ready to sort of endorse that. We have car and bike enforcement, which is already on there. We have noise, but noise was traffic, it was events, it was music, sirens, the pedicabs, drag racing.
But I mean, we could put the noise into the section of the quality of life, right? Because
Yes.
in our sections, the number one was what?
Yeah.
The safety, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and that would,
And then-
that could be that is our number three
Right,
issue,
right.
so we could break that into our number
Right.
three issue.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for more, enforcement, more inspectors for DEP, noise inspectors for DEP. I mean, we just don't have that as a
You just don't
requirement.
need it, there are two for the whole city.
I know, but we should ask for more. We should say, as a result of this survey, it's not the way that the survey is gonna be, I mean, the way that the document now runs, it's not as though it's bumping something out. And we don't have any expense requests for DEP.
Right.
So I say, as a result of the survey, this was a major concern, and so, and backed up by the 311 data, that we have. And we say that we want DEP to have more, I would say specifically, noise inspectors, right, that's the right word for them. And, but specifically after hours, because that's what
That's
the
because they
issue is.
don't do it, this is NYPD.
Well, no, DEP.
No, what I'm saying is that the organization right now is that DEP does it sometime during the day, but everything which is after hours is directed to NYPD.
Well, yes, but
And
DEP
then
does
anyway-
have after hours, and they do have them, but they take,
Right.
they're less and they take longer to organize. So we're saying we want that program to be more robust, because I think that's the key. And the NYPD is not trained in any way with dealing with a construction site that's doing after hours work. They don't know, and they're not gonna go and ask for permits.
But I think we should
They don't
have,
have the decibel meters.
Right, they have a decimal meter,
but I think we
but
should have DOB and DOT also, not, this is good, but in addition, we should focus on DOT and DOB and ask again, having, protocols where they don't let people work after hours.
yeah, that's a policy. I wouldn't say it's
The budget,
budget, but that's a
but we
policy.
can write that into our number
Yes.
three,
Right.
quality
We
of
could
life.
include that and say, there seems to be policies that are not conducive to quality of life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way to do this more, I mean, just from seeing what you're saying, this is the number one issue for New York City people.
I know.
Yet our electeds aren't doing anything at a more, like quantitative level.
High level.
For
Right.
accountability, because to me, the noise situation, people aren't sleeping or resting
I know.
in their homes. They're going crazy,
Yes.
this is definitely gonna add to mental health issues in our city, so it feels,
Right.
It also has a nice narrative tie, and what I think hopefully the narrative will do is there are a lot of projects, like very large projects that the city wants to undertake in the district, and there are concerns about the mitigations that are associated with that.
Right.
I mean, here is a place where the city has the ability to demonstrate goodwill where it is ultimately failing. And with these, when you have increased,
I put
projects.
that in the transportation text,
Greater.
I talked about all the construction, the
Yeah.
cumulative impact. And say, we're not equipped for it, and we probably need a citywide task force. I mean, district-wide task force to look at all these
Yeah.
issues cumulatively. And
what's currently being done about it, where is it, like, where are the gaps?
Yeah.
Like just what Jesse was saying, like, the police aren't trained for this.
right, they're not trained for anything.
That's not true.
You are on
That's- yeah,
record.
you are.
Recorded.
Absolutely not true.
Thank you.
Alright, so right now, though, my understanding is we have 2 additional requests, right? We're adding a foot patrol, but can I say when we're saying foot patrol, we're saying we just want more cops, right? And I'm not saying that as a negative way.
We want them on foot.
Yes.
This is critical.
Yeah.
People do not want to have a car at the end of the block. They want to have the
Right, no,
car
I understand that, but,
walking up and down.
so we're not actually saying where it's about additional staffing, it's just where the staffing is being.
Yes.
Okay.
And now,
All right.
how?
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I think we're gonna go with that circle argument again, and Kevin Bench said it earlier, which I agree with him, is that I think we need to, in my mind, if you're saying that, I think we need to say we're in support of more funding, more initiative to get, I mean, not to say that they are not already trying very hard to get you get a signing bonus of like $20,000-$30,000 at this point, to become a cop. But like to do whatever they can do to get more cops, because we're not gonna get more foot patrols without more cops.
Well, the question is, what, I think it's important to just focus on like, what's the problem you're trying to solve? You could have increased foot patrols and still not solve the problem you want to solve, just like if you have cars and add more cops, then solve.
I think that goes, yeah, so.
Like, let's pinpoint what the issue is.
Well, I think the
Well-
foot patrol has always been the issue of you have malfeasance working on the sidewalk, you know, and you have a guy driving, it doesn't help. But having people walking up and down are going to disturb the actions. And therefore, that's the expectation, at least that the people say, this is why we want foot patrol, we want to see somebody who's a cop. And therefore feeling safer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's where the survey gets into a little bit, the survey, I mean, is not gonna be able to give us a pinpointed thing.
Right.
This is what foot patrol is gonna solve, it's gonna solve for a myriad of things, one of them is optics. One of them is that feeling of,
Right.
okay, I can turn down the block and I know I'm safer by seeing a cop or whatever. But, you know, I just, but anyway, I think we're on the same page, I think we're saying. We want more foot patrols and that's backed up by the survey, obviously. And I said, the other thing we just agreed to, right, is the enforcement, DEP enforcement.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I
but I
guess,
think we can add to the summary, the construction, the cumulative construction.
Yep.
Because I think it's real and
Absolutely.
it's a big issue, I mean, look at all the projects we have in our.
Yeah, I think that, and Jessica brought this up last meeting, but just having that be probably the biggest new addition to the narrative, connecting all of these issues, crime, public safety,
Right.
and just these larger impacts, from these larger projects in the district. And
For example, construction, the Port Authority, and you know, they have encampment at every
Yeah.
corner of their scaffold, so now you have new encampment.
yes,
yeah, I guess I would appeal for a more pinpoint sort of. Effort to explain what we want to see addressed, and here's why I say this, because. For some folks, seeing police on the corner does not make them feel safer.
Right.
And that's not because they're not law-abiding citizens, it's not because they're not law-abiding citizens, it's simply a matter of. Police don't necessarily result in safety, and what you see here is. Crime, public safety, and police community relations as your biggest category, right? I'm gonna suggest that, look, if crime is being committed, we wanna make sure that's being addressed, okay. Public safety though, because that might be related to folks who are homeless or having mental health issues. Police aren't necessarily the solution for that, so what does that look like? If noise is part of my problem related to police and community relations, because I don't understand why I keep calling 911 and there's still noise. Foot patrols don't necessarily solve that.
That's true.
That could be related to your construction piece, so I guess I'm just wondering if we could be a little bit more, listen, we see the bigger picture here. The bigger picture is, if there are encampments and homeless people, we wanna make sure those folks have safe places to be, because that's being on the street is the right answer. That's not the police, that's mental health resources, right? Okay, if. An increased police presence in certain areas is important because crime has gone up, let's be responsive to that, and you can know from the data where it is that crime has gone up. Okay. If it's noise, you just said it's mostly related to construction. So how is it that we say specifically in this? We would advocate for something related to how it is we're dealing with construction issues. You know what I mean, I'm just trying to be a little.
No, I understand, but I think, I don't think we're doing that, I mean, I think we're saying DEP should. be
Okay,
separate
fine,
request.
yeah.
And I do think, I think the, yeah, I would say the other issues around, let's say. You know, chronic homelessness and services provided to them, we already have that in our budget request, so we're already saying increase that for outreach. And we're already saying, additional services for people coming out of shelter so they don't have to return. So I mean, I think we can say we're adding those things, I think we're trying to find a way of being responsive to the survey. In a way that's just not saying, oh, we already are asking for that,
Yeah.
whatever, so I think there is a sliver of that of saying, okay, you know, and NYPD. We don't have a quality of life committee, and so we don't necessarily have direct letters going out about NYPD stuff. That's involving public safety. It does in transportation,
Yeah.
you know, things like that. Even BLP gets involved a little bit with nightlife stuff, but so I agree. I don't think we should to say foot patrol should solve everything, because that's not it, but I do think if we're trying to say
Well,
that.
you want to
Public
see this
safety is-
including.
Yeah, and I think, I will say the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is just, the amount of and the openness of drug use. I think that is a major optic
Oh,
thing.
right.
Drug
Drug
use
use.
and sales.
Chronic homelessness
Not
is something that
use,
is,
actually.
that has always been consistent, it ebbs and flows in our district, like any other district, but we have a significant amount of it because of our district and public transportation and a lot of zoning, land use that's
Yeah.
big, broad spaces that no one lives on, and so that's where they go. But I think what people are reacting to in terms of when they say, you know, when they feel like there's a public safety issue, I think it's people honestly just seeing more and more people shooting up, doing drugs out in the open,
Yeah.
doing stuff that's unsafe.
Yeah.
That they feel is unsafe, and, you know, and again, I don't think PD, I agree with you, I don't think PD is the solution for all of that.
Also, like,
but-
the actual use itself is decriminalized, so it's
That's
not,
what I'm trying to
it's
say.
not like people,
But that's what people, I think, react
the
to that.
sales that aren't
Right,
though, so they can enforce.
It's
against them.
decriminalized in the sense that that individual is not doing something that's criminalized, that doesn't mean people walk down the street and feel safe about it.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and then
That happened this week for.
right, I mean, you know, it happens to me, I don't, I'm a big dude, it's not that I personally feel my personal safety is, but do I come out of the 34th Street and Seventh Avenue subway, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of biology.
And this actual sale, which is a crime.
Yeah. Okay,
And then just addressing the optics of feeling safer, which I understand, there were a couple of results that said that, police do not make me feel safer, though overwhelmingly, I think the modal, like the most common response was just, we would like to see the greater police presence such that when anything happens, there is someone. Like, or if I'm worried about my safety,
No, that's the
a
response.
person is there and I can run up to them and be like, hello, sir, or ma'am.
the good old, the good old days
Yeah,
that
the good old
existed.
days.
that wasn't right. Yeah, right, exactly. Yikes. All right, is there anything else that, in terms of budget requests?
No.
So I modified the transportation text, did you get it or?
If it's all in the same email that I did not yet look at yet, then no.
It-
I mean, but if it's in there.
He has the email though,
But if we have the email, I apologize, I
No,
sent
no,
you one
that's
and I must have missed the second.
but we'll definitely, like, to the extent that this is modified, it'll be available for review. The goal is to have it available for review for Friday so that it can be reviewed at exec, right?
So I have one comment about the beginning, and the beginning is, last year we had this
You wanna put that out?
humongous section about cannabis.
Yes,
stores.
We're updated.
Right,
Yeah,
it's like over the top,
yeah,
Well,
right,
yeah, things have just changed, that's what we're at,
Right.
it's like.
right, so I think we need to.
either I
Tone
turn
down.
it down, or it is not clear that we are,
Right,
which is not to say that there's no use for enforcement, but that it is not a trend any
Right.
longer.
Yeah, I think we just have to update it, I mean, the laws have been changed,
right.
rules have been changed, so I mean, I
So we
think.
will.
So I
remove
move
it.
to recommend
Yes.
removing the section. We are keeping the actual item, but that this is
Yeah, it
not,
doesn't belong in the.
it doesn't involve, it does not belong in the,
Right.
at the.
I mean, I do think, I think it should be in the
Or it could
narrative
be,
somewhere, I
it can
mean,
be
I
worked
think we
into
still have,
the street life conditions.
I think we should still say that it is still. While it's been dramatically reduced, I do think the illegal component of it has evolved, it's no longer in the shops. Right, because the shops have become illegal, right, before they couldn't,
Right.
they supposedly couldn't enforce illegal shops, laws have been changed, now they can break these guys out. Now what happens is, they're literally standing 10 feet outside of their own shop with their bag of, product. They wait till someone walks into the old shop
Right.
looking for that, they get a queue, they come in and they do business, so I do think again, it's perceived rather than real, or is there more crime happening besides the crime of selling drugs?
Yeah.
No, probably, but it does create a atmosphere of people, does someone want to hurt someone to get that money or that drugs, that's just creating that atmosphere,
Right.
so. I would just like to say, I think it should stay in there somewhere, I don't think it should
I would
be,
expand just the deteriorating street life conditions and have it.
that's fine.
Kind of as.
I just don't want us to lose it completely, cause it certainly is a topic at cannabis task force all the time,
Yeah.
and so. You know,
I was
Okay.
also, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Under road safety, including, the bikes, I mean, we, just looking, there was a lot of both bike and. Vehicular, so it might be worth
Yeah, we
stating
can
that
totally
there's
down and
all
up.
sorts of vehicular lawlessness. Of
I think that's
the,
what we said.
the 2 to 4 wheel variety, this is, but the road safety here was very, like cyclist moped focused,
Private.
but there was, in the survey, it might help to work in a little bit of, vehicular, like car, issue.
Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking about it.
Where else it was there? Please,
One note, related crime complaints, because I was looking at the CompStat data, just because I was curious. It's petty larceny and retail theft are the two topics that are identified as having the most crime complaints right now, and so I'm just wondering. Do you wanna say something about, do we wanna say something about addressing shoplifting issues? Is that your petty larceny retail theft category?
I mean, petty larceny is always, like, this is just historically, like, you have in your CBDs. Always just like off the charts petty larceny, or like Greenwich Village, off the charts
Yeah,
like petty
yeah,
larceny,
yeah.
because. There's, it's like you have nightlife, you have a lot of business, a lot of people around, you know,
Yeah.
so, but like, I think that would be a great place to add to the pros.
I would like to. Throw this out there too, and I don't know if it showed up, I doubt it showed up in the survey, maybe it did. But I know this has come up routinely, especially for Clue, in terms of NYPD, and I don't think it's. I don't think we're there to say a request because. It hasn't really been discussed as this level, at this level of request. I know Maria's explored this, has been helpful in exploring this ideas, which is, but this idea, this issue of basically that. NYCHA folks, NYCHA residents specifically, Chelsea and Elliott and Fulton have, voiced concern about their safety in the building. And the lack of vertical patrols and the lack of services being, going into the buildings to deal with. Homeless or mentally ill folks that get into the building that, don't have apartments there that are just using the stairway or the rooftops, all of that stuff. We've heard that from Miguel, we've heard that from Renee, and so. I do think putting it in the narrative would be helpful, because at least we're raising it and saying this is something that we wish. I don't wanna get into the political business of saying who should do it yet, because then it's like who pays for it, and then if we're agreeing with the developer or whatever, but I do think that is something that we could say we've heard about, which is unique, cause it's within a building, it's not on the street, so we're not saying, PD, PD enforcement, night to sidewalks better, we're saying there needs to be something specific to go into these buildings and
The vertical
manage
patrol.
this. Vertical patrols, but even beyond that, again, because like the cops can kick people out, I think if someone's have, as be, emotionally unstable or whatever, they need services, right? They need someone to help them try to.
If the lock of the door is broken.
Right, yeah.
Anyway.
Right, yeah. So I would just like to throw that out there as an idea of putting that into the narrative somewhere into the
Yes.
public safety
And-
component.
This is partly for my understanding. You keep hearing reports of the locks and front doors of NYCHA buildings broken. There's not something that has addressed that in any systemic fashion is also.
I mean, I think what we hear from the consistent sort of drumbeat in meetings, residents come and speak about this, is that we have heard that there have been repairs made sometimes, but is every building repaired? Is every door repaired? When it gets broken, who fixes it? I mean, the hardest thing about receiving, that feedback is that we can't chart out when something happened, when it got responded to, who got responded to it. And so, but I think it's been a consistent
Okay,
term,
That's
which has
helpful
been
to
seniors
hear.
in general, and that's part of the problem.
But is it coming from outside people or from other people which live in the building?
No, it's coming from us.
I listen outside, but even that's hard to, I mean, I guess.
It's anecdotal. I mean, we've heard from, folks that live in the Fulton places that we've got,
Yeah.
high school kids who after school getting into certain lobbies and using it inappropriately. We've heard from folks that they're finding, they're finding people sleeping in their stairways that don't live in the building, that they just get access. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, I don't want, I do think the door issue is its own, it's a capital, could be a capital issue.
Yeah, I hear.
Uniquely, we've rarely ever heard like people say specifically, oh, we want you to help us get funding for doors, because they have kind of bigger ideas, bigger issues in their, in their issue, but I think we've certainly heard about just the need for more service enforcement, public safety enforcement going into the buildings and trying to manage that, so.
In the intro, I don't remember, did we talk about night shift?
We do talk about it as a, like a major project, do we talk about it? We could talk about it more extensively, I think.
Well, I just think whatever we get into the safety and stuff, I think just adding it in there and make sure specifically.
No,
Just-
but I mean, generally speaking, I was
Oh,
talking
okay.
about having night shift as, having, with all the time we spent this year on night shift.
Yeah,
Well,
sure, yeah.
We should have like a caption of.
Yeah.
That we are still very concerned about what's happening
Yeah.
to the tenants and whether the
Yeah.
minimal requirements would be met.
Yeah,
Or
okay,
something like that, very high level, right?
that makes sense.
But just a placeholder.
Yeah, and I mean, NYCHA could be one of the trends because it is
Yeah.
taken a lot. And then I don't know if it is worthwhile or it's just something we'll get into in affordable housing, but just like affordability of housing is a huge, definitely a trend within the survey.
Right.
So I guess we'll have our top three priorities as crime and public safety, affordable housing, and then quality of life. That will include the like cumulative construction impacts, it'll include noise. Will also, be a great place to add in Ella's data from the 301 complaints, and that would be kind of the proposal to move forward with this, and have kind of a draft framework that we can all take a look at by the end of the week. And I will like to draft some versions of that.
Blue was also recommending that we make notice of rats
Yes,
and
rats
construction
are
in particular
definitely.
being part of that. So construction, noise and rats associated.
Those ones with the head with the hard hats.
Yeah, if only we could,
Yeah.
the rats are doing foot patrols.
Covering all bases.
Always when you have construction, right?
No, that is definitely a part of the,
It's inequality.
within quality of life and can definitely tease that out as
It's
another.
sanitation. Oh, it's sanitation.
Yeah, it's another, and where you have another impact with the quality of life, there. Okay, I think that we have, gone through the sort of the trends and the immediate issues and then the top issues, and we've teased out issues we'd like to add and make sure are in here. Are there any other notes or elements? So if nothing else, we do not have quorum, so we will not be voting on anything, but if there is no, we will bring this to exec and it'll come out of exec. The way that we would go about doing this is if you do have outstanding items, please, particularly on the budget priority list, please get them to Jesse. Some, and me ideally, but like Jesse more important. And then we'll have.
Really read everything I
Yeah. You do, just, it's a question of does it make it into the spreadsheet? And it will. And then if you have changes to add to the narrative, please add them. I will personally draft changes to the first sections so that the trends, the immediate issues, and then the top issues, and I welcome any comments or further.
So the latest version is in what email?
It is that this is always the same because it is Google
Now,
Doc.
you don't read the emails, is that what
I
you're?
did.
Yeah.
There's no latest version, or it's
Oh, yeah,
always,
yeah.
it's always latest version because Google Doc, it's Google
I
Doc.
didn't get the email for the Google Doc. I was looking for it.
You didn't? I
said
said,
this anyway.
So, but
I think you did.
can we send a reminder,
yeah,
Yeah, just.
about this,
send it
because
to me.
my concern is not so much the front end narrative, is that those little subsections
Yep.
that people
Yes.
do their job of reviewing those
Right.
subsections and make sure that they're
Okay.
accurate, because they get forgotten about, and then it looks silly. 'Cause
And
we're like
we'll-
saying one thing in the
Right.
the lead narrative, and then the little subsection sounds like we haven't.
And then the
talked
list
about something
makes no
else.
sense.
Yeah,
I will send an email to a reminder email to everyone who is assigned to something and then the committee chairs. I do have full updates from, I think, from both Leslie and Josephine for their things.
You got my comment.
And I got your comments.
Am I assigned to a section?
You are, I think we put you on
Oh,
and
yeah, that's
as-
right. Yes, on
on-
the same
on the-
ones that
yes,
have already
yes,
been answered.
yes,
Yeah.
but if you have anything to add, it is always welcome. Yes.
So if you could just let the budget task force know sort of like timeline of what is being done, because normally don't we have like a summary where basically, not a summary, but basically right now it's all chunked up by agency, but before we did like
yeah, so we changed, so this year, they changed it.
Oh.
So we're no longer having we'll have this list that you basically see in a different format, but it's gonna be broken up by agency. It's not gonna have, we're not gonna have a master, not gonna have a master
No,
list.
but
of
the
stuff.
text will have that.
yeah, the text.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's.
The text will still have the same sections.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the text will have the same section.
Yeah.
It just won't be read as saying like,
Yeah.
oh, it's agenda, it's a budget list number 44. It's gonna say number 2 or 1 or 3.
So exec is
Monday. Yeah.
I mean, all of this needs to get like updated by Monday.
I think the goal is Friday, so that
Oh.
people have time to review it prior to exec. Now, and we're talking about substantive, so if we wanna keep, proofread up until full board or whatever,
Yeah, those
but-
types of changes can be made at full.
but if it's a substantive change, like adding something to a list or prioritizing it in a different way. Changing a big part of the narrative, the trends, et cetera. That I think needs to happen before Friday.
Executive is here,
Yes,
as is the affordable housing thing beforehand. right?
yes.
And so I think if there are changes, I will send that email in the next 24 hours to everybody to make sure that everything is updated and just request a confirmation. I will, in the next, I guess, 2 days, kind of work on drafting, the language that we talked about, in the narrative. But if there are any other outstanding things, we'll also have the list of the budget priorities, for Friday.
Is this our last budget task force meeting then?
Yes.
For this year.
Okay.
We'll meet again next year. God will.
For the preliminary.
For the
Preliminary.
Yeah, for the preliminary.
Even though it's non-binding, when we say we had consensus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and typically what happens in the budget task force is consensus based anyway. It is very rare that the work of all the committees plus everyone here gathered is controversial. It is almost exclusively iterative. Sometimes there are disagreements, but the consensus is usually reached. It feels like that occurred tonight.
It was last year, just from my concerns, it was the ranking.
Right.
That was where.
That's usually where there's the blood on the street.
Now that
Blood on the-
Now that we don't have that.
No, we don't, I'm saying it's a lot easier.
Yeah, it's so much
yeah.
easier.
Yes.
Remember the first time with Leslie? Which.
Well, and then Leslie's not here to fight.
It was very.
Not that Leslie would But in this.
Alrighty, well, we don't even have to have a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, no.
Never even met. We never even met. This never happened except for.
The consensus to adjourn.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Awesome, great
Great.
job.
Amazing.
Alright.
Thank you all for coming here and for all the work.
Thanks a lot.